Are the Detroit Lions good enough to win the NFC North Division? When you look at this division from top to bottom, it's a lot of question marks about every single team. The Green Bay Packers are going to be rolling out Jordan Love for him to start his first official season without Aaron Rodgers in quite some time. You also have the Chicago Bears. Is Justin Fields good enough to prove that he's a franchise quarterback with them putting a lot of weapons around him? And the Minnesota Vikings, will that defense be better than what it was last season? But one thing that is a constant, the Detroit Lions offense was very explosive last season, and they beat every single team in this division, and they also caused a lot of upsets as well. When I look at this Detroit Lions team, they made a lot of good moves in this offseason, from making moves in the NFL draft to free agency. And they try to get this defense better, because last season, their defense was the biggest weak spot of this team. But as the season progressed, they had a lot of good production going down towards the end of the season, and their defense did get better, but their offense started to lead the way. Let's start off with Jared Goff. Last season, by far his best season with the Detroit Lions. 29 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and a lot of that came because of the play action system that he was put in with Coach Johnson and this offensive line protection. But Jared Goff proved last season that he's capable of being a starting quarterback with this team for the foreseeable future. And that was a huge question mark with a lot of Detroit Lion fans. Is Jared Goff a true franchise quarterback? And last season, he proved that. He's going to have to prove it again for this upcoming season if he wants to get rid of that narrative. But I think Jared Goff is a very good quarterback in the NFL if the offensive line protection is right and the wide receivers can get open downfield. And speaking of wide receivers, they have some good pieces at the wide receiving core. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a very good wide receiver, and he is slept on in a lot of NFL circles. 1,161 receiving yards last season and 6 touchdowns, coming in with 106 receptions. And you also have Brock Wright at the tight end position, who gave you some good production last season, 216 yards and 4 touchdowns. The thing is with Brock Wright, he was used more when TJ Hockenson got traded, and that was a big question mark at the time. But the offense did get better when they traded TJ Hockenson, and you save some money. They didn't want to pay TJ Hockenson top tight end money, so you trade him to the Minnesota Vikings and you get some extra draft capital out of that. And he also drafted Sam Laporta, who is a good receiving tight end coming out of Iowa. I think that he's going to come in and he can be the number 1 tight end for this team, especially in the receiving game. He can also come in and block as well. So that's a nice addition to have with this offense that was already explosive. And you have other receiving targets on the team as well, such as Khalif Raymond, who has 616 receiving yards last season and 0 receiving touchdowns, but he's a good receiving option for Jared Goff. One thing that does upset me about this Detroit Lions team is the player, Jameson Williams. Now, he was selected in the first round with Aiden Hutchinson in last year's draft class, and he was considered to be the best wide receiver in that draft class. And the reason why I'm upset, he missed significant time last season, recovering from a torn ACL injury. And I do believe that he could be the best wide receiver on this team. Excellent route runner, has amazing speed to go down the field, and he can be very good in separation. The thing that I'm upset about, he got caught in a gambling scandal with some other players on this team. He's going to miss 6 games for his upcoming season. He needs to get on the field, and he can help out this team in many ways. I do believe once he gets on the field that he's going to be a transcendent playmaker for this team. He just has to get some of these things figured out, and it's just sad that he got caught with a gambling situation. But last season wasn't his fault that he missed majority of it, because he was recovering from a torn ACL that he suffered in the college championship game when he was playing with Alabama. But I believe that he will be a game changer when he does step foot in this team, and he can be more consistent with the playing snaps. They also selected Jamar Gibbs in the first round with Jack Campbell in this year's draft class. I think he's going to be a very good running back for this team. Reminds me a lot of Alvin Kamara. Can take some short plays and can make them for big plays going down the field, and is a wide receiver hybrid / running back. He is listed as a running back coming out of Alabama, but I believe that you can do a lot of things with him inside the slot, and he can catch the football as well. And they're bringing over a brand new running back as well in David Montgomery. They had Jamal Williams, and they also had DeAndre Swift last year. DeAndre Swift was good, suffered with injuries, so you trade him to the Philadelphia Eagles, and they let Jamal Williams walk, and they let him go to the New Orleans Saints, so they brought in David Montgomery. David Montgomery's a good running back. 801 rushing yards last season and 5 touchdowns. I think he's going to come in and be that physical running back that you're looking for, and you have that 1-2 punch with Jamar Gibbs. They're going to do some similar things to what Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram were able to do a couple of seasons ago with the Saints. And I think that's going to only help out Jared Goff even more. We have two running backs that have a different skill set, and it can be very special for this team. Now, this offensive line is where it's at. From tackle to tackle, they're extremely good. These guys are stonewalls, and they have one of the best offensive line units in football. And it fits the Dan Campbell narrative. He wants to run the football, control the clock, and work off the run game and work into play action. And that's when Jared Goff is at his best. You go back to those Rams teams. When Jared Goff had the most success, Ty Gurley was going and the run game was clicking. And we saw it last season. When the run game was working, Jared Goff was working as well. So this offensive line is very essential to this team. Taylor Decker is a good tackle. Penei Sewell is a good tackle as well. Jonah Jackson is good at the left guard position, and Frank Ragnow is good at the center position as well. And they have good depth behind these guys. I love their offensive line. They're tough, they're physical, and they help protect Jared Goff a lot. So as long as the offensive line's intact, this offense will still be explosive, and they will still be one of the best offenses in this division. Now, their defense last season, I spoke on it moments ago. Their defense was a bit of a struggle last season. Towards the end of the season, it did get better because they were so young, they're so inexperienced. I go back to that Buffalo Bills game. They were sticking toe-to-toe with the Buffalo Bills. And you may say the Bills weren't healthy, but it was Thanksgiving Day. They had the Bills dead to rights, but it was a Hail Mary play right in the middle of the field. It was a heartbreaker, and they got them deep down the field. I don't believe it's going to happen this year. Aiden Hutchinson last year was the premier playmaker for this team. 9.5 sacks, 3 interceptions. That kid is a franchise pass rusher for this team. They made the amazing decision to draft him in last year's draft class in the first round. He's going to continue to be the best defensive player in this team, and he's going to be the face of this team on the defensive side. I can't speak highly of him enough. He is going to be a game changer for this team for years to come, and he's a true franchise player. But it's more than just Aiden Hutchinson on this team. Last year, James Houston had 8 sacks and 1 forced fumble. And I do believe if he can get better in those run-stopping plays and he can continue to shift off offensive linemen a certain way and he can come in and just do more than just give you pass rush, he could be a consistent playmaker for this team on the defensive side across side Aiden Hutchinson. So I love his game as well. Do not sleep on James Houston. He could be a double-digit sack guy with Aiden Hutchinson, and that could be a very nice pass rush for this team. And if you can get pass rush with both of these guys, and you have Aleem McNeil and Isaiah Buggs as the defensive tackles on the team, it's going to be hard to run against this defense, and it's going to be hard to pass against this defense as well because those pass rushers are coming after you and getting you. And Aiden Hutchinson can do more than rush the passer. I mentioned those 3 interceptions before. He got Aaron Rodgers and he got Daniel Jones as well. So he can flip back in coverage, and he can also blow up the run. And we saw what he did to the Chicago Bears when they had David Montgomery on the goal line. He just completely just wrecked that play and he went for a negative game. So if Aiden Hutchinson could continue to do that, this defense could be better than what a lot of people think. I like them getting Jack Campbell in the first round as well. Linebacker from Iowa. He's going to be a straight tackle machine for this team. He can also rush the passer as well in blitz situations coming across the middle of the field. So that's a good linebacker that Dan Campbell likes a lot, and he fits the Dan Campbell narrative. A guy that can come in and stop the run and is going to come in and help control the clock as well at the linebacking position. Now, their secondary went through a lot of changes. Last year, it was no good, but you're bringing over Cameron Sutton from the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a good addition to have. He may not be a true number 1 corner, but he's a good number 2 corner in the NFL, and he did some good things with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have C.J. Gardner-Johnson as well, who has 6 interceptions and 8 pass deflections last season for the Philadelphia Eagles. If he can just come over and continue to be that turnover safety with this team, they're going to be in a great situation. He just can give this offense the ball back and let them score, and they can stay on the same wavelength that they've been on for the back half of the season and for majority of last season with Coach Johnson. The offense can continue to get better if their defense can give them the ball back. You have Tracy Walker III, who's a good free safety with this team. I love Kirby Joseph as well. So their safeties are very good. But they made another very interesting decision. They drafted Brian Branch in the 2nd round. That's a very good, versatile guy to have in the secondary come from Alabama. He's going to be very surgical, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, wants to come out and use this kid. The biggest problem with the Detroit Lions defense last season early on. They were so young and some of the players just weren't good and the personnel just didn't work out. I believe that they have the right personnel. They've made the right moves, and the general manager is trying to put the best talent on the field as possible with this defense. The crazy part is they beat every team in this division last season when their defense wasn't any good. And their defense did come up at times and help them out, like how it came up against the Green Bay Packers twice last season. If their defense can be above average and they can be consistent and the offense can stay on the same length that they were on last season, and Jared Goff can continue to be a red hot quarterback, I do believe that they should be the favorites to win this division in the NFC North. Like I said, you have a lot of question marks with guys like the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love. How would he look with the team? Chicago Bears, how would Justin Fields look? And the Minnesota Vikings, will their defense get better? Because they let a lot of veterans go, and they're going to be depending on Brian Flores a lot with that system, with that team. And like I said moments ago, the Detroit Lions already beat these teams last season. So they can just come out and continue that momentum. I do believe the Detroit Lions can be a scary team in the NFC. So let me know, am I overblowing the Detroit Lions? Am I overrating this team? Are they a true playoff caliber team? And should they be the favorites to win the NFC North? I know history doesn't go in my favor, but something seems different with this team. Dan Campbell has definitely come over and he's changed the culture with this team. It was a struggle early on last season, but the back half and the middle half of last season, they brought all together and they were one of those teams that gravitated towards their head coach, and they went out there and played extremely hard. So let me know how you feel about the Detroit Lions in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.